Did you know the average American uses 7 trees a year in paper, wood, and other products made from trees? This amounts to about 2 billion trees per year.
Approximately half of that, or 1 billion trees worth of paper, are thrown away every year in the U.S.
The amount of wood and paper we throw away each year is enough to heat 50 million homes for 20 years.
But we're not just talking about trees as isolated plants. Trees are an important part of the world and can be a key element in the fight against global pollution, too.
This means that every ton of recycled paper keeps almost 60 pounds of pollutants out of the atmosphere that would have been produced if the paper had been manufactured from raw resources. 17 trees alone can absorb a total of 250 pounds of carbon dioxide from the air each year.
So we interviewed a high school English teacher to see how many sheets of paper she uses per week. Surprisingly, Mrs. Bolton only uses about 100 pieces of paper per week for all of her classes combined. So how does she get by with using so little paper? Simply by using overhead projectors and whiteboards most of the time. Mrs. Bolton says, however, that she is beginning to look more and more into web-based options.
When I taught Transcendentalism, we used Glogster to illustrate some of the words of Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson. So we used Glogster for our Maxim project this year, and the kids really enjoyed it.
Even with these alternatives, that's still approximately 3,800 sheets of paper per school year, or 45.6% of a tree. Rather than just tossing the paper in the wastebasket, Mrs. Bolton says she and her students prefer recycling.
Just a couple months ago, my Key Club kids decided they wanted to recycle, so they asked their teachers if they would want a recycling tub in their room, and I have one in here.
But even better than recycling is using no paper at all. The goal of a paperless classroom would be ideal. Mrs. Bolton says she is very excited about paper alternatives like using email to turn in assignments or classroom blogs to share ideas. However, limited access to technology poses many problems when trying to achieve this goal.
I would love them to do blogging, especially when we're reading a novel. The problem with that, again, is the kids not having computer access at home, and there might just be a handful of them that don't have computer access at home, but those kids who don't have that feel really bad if they're not able to do it.
Even if all students have a home computer and internet access, this isn't the only problem facing schools.
The other problem is computer lab space. Like when we're reading The Great Gatsby, it's in the spring semester, and our computer labs are taken up for state testing.
Despite challenges like this, Mrs. Bolton says she's doing all she can.
Yeah, I kind of really have become a little bit more conscious of it here this year for whatever reason, but I do try and reduce paper.
We challenge you. Integrate paper alternatives like technology and laptops into every classroom to cut down on the waste.
Help us save the world, one worksheet at a time.